Greetings. Rivers here. I'm excited to tell you this story because in my mind, it makes me realize how much God has been into the details of my life. And I want you to know, my favorite people in the entire world, that God knows you and that He loves you and He's into the details of your life. This happened way back in 2009. I was involved in a mediation. I was in the Oakland, California, in the Bay Area, working with a client. And I had been experiencing some tightness in the chest, and I wasn't feeling super great. But anyway, I went to this mediation, and I was back at the hotel. It was called the Claremont, I believe. Really cool old hotel in Berkeley, California. And it was nestled up into kind of some hills, some really beautiful hills. And it was this big sprawling place. And I was back in my hotel room drafting what's called a settlement agreement and waiting for the results of this mediation to come so that I could finish up the settlement agreement. So I decided that I got to a point where I thought, well, let's go get a workout. Or what I actually thought was first, I said there was this lovely road that went up a canyon, not like the canyons that we have here, but it wasn't, there were hardly any cars that were going up. It was just in back of the Claremont. And I decided to go for a hike, just a walk. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day, and the Bay Area is a beautiful place. And as I walked up, it wasn't terribly taxing or anything like that. I started to get a little bit short of breath. And usually when that happens, I just like to kind of power through it and things kind of loosen up and everything. But again, I told you that my heart was kind of not maybe, I was feeling some pressure, a lot of pressure in a lot of different areas. And so as I was going up this little canyon road with no traffic, I had this very strong impression that I was to return immediately to the Claremont. And I thought, wow, why? It was a beautiful day and it was lovely, lots of trees, but it was a very strong impression, and I decided that I better heed that impression. So what I did was I went back to the hotel, went back to my hotel room, and I got in a little bit of a workout in the gym that they had, part of the little gym they had at the Claremont. So you're going, so what? Well, let me tell you, it became apparent to me that within the next week or two, after I got back from the Bay Area, I was still feeling a little under the weather. And it became apparent that I needed to go talk to my internist. And it became really apparent that there was an obstruction in what's called the widowmaker. It's a lovely term, where there was a blockage, a 90% blockage. And it so happens that for a couple of weeks before I had this surgical intervention and they put in what's called a stent, that I was kind of a walking, talking time bomb. And it became apparent to me that the reason why I had been given that strong prompting to head back to the hotel is if I had continued up, marching, plodding forward, if I'd continued to go up, I would have had a heart attack and I would have fallen to the ground, and there was no traffic going up and down, and I would have died. it's pretty sobering. And so I guess the question for you, my favorite people, what are you supposed to learn? What's Rivers got up his sleeve here? And I guess what I want you to understand is sometimes the Holy Ghost tells you things and you need to follow them. And I'm glad that I followed the advice to come back to the Claremont because I was supposed to, and that I might have suffered a heart attack going up this very beautiful little canyon road with no traffic, and nobody would have come to my rescue. So when you're 68 years old, like I am, you start thinking about these things and you're able to kind of connect the dots of your life. And I just want you to know that the dots that I'm able to connect when I'm 68 years old tell me that God has really been involved in my life in wonderful ways I had never supposed. And I'm able to see things. And I just want you to know that I have such faith that God answers prayers, that he has angels who watch over you and me, and that he has a plan for you, and he's got a plan for me. And if you ever wonder what plan God has for you, come and talk to me. I might have a really cool idea or two. But I just want you to know that I love Heavenly Father. I know that he lives. I know that he loves me. I know that he loves you. He loves all of his children. And I just want you to know that. And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.